Hey everybody, this is Miss Florida Hot Picks here, giving you guys another update workout for Pick 3 New York. I want you guys to make sure you're paying close attention to your triples and false triples, especially when there are key digit numbers involved. There were quite a few hits that I'm seeing that are coming from triples in New York, so make sure you're aware. I want to show you exactly where you may want to look at some of these hot numbers, and we're going to use a 317 rundown to figure out where these patterns are, okay? So we're going to start New York, February 17th evening. There was a hit of 662. Now we're going to go off of this particular hit so we can find out what numbers were hot and what numbers came out of this grid, okay? So what we have to do to put it together, once we lock in the last hit, we're simply going to add each of these numbers down the columns. So for the first column, we're going to add 3 all the way down. So 3 plus 6 is 9. 9 plus 3 is 12. When you get to your 2-digit numbers, only use your ones place. So put a 2 here. 2 plus 3 is 5. 5 plus 3 is 8. 8 plus 3 is 11. Use your 1. 1 plus 3 is 4. 4 plus 3 is 7. 7 plus 3 is 0 or 10, but we're just going to use the 0. 0 plus 3 is 3, and 3 plus 3 is 6. You know that you did it right. The number you start with should be the number you end with, okay? And then we're going to add 1 all the way down the second column and 7 all the way down the third column. Now, with the grids, there's many ways to look at these numbers. I like to specialize in looking at what I call triples or false triples, okay? So if you notice here, you have a 6, 6 here, and then you have a number that's 272. This is a very peculiar number here. This is what we call a false triple, all right? So when you see these slanted triples, sometimes they'll be like 222 or 777, but this is a mixture of both numbers. This is what we call mirrors. 2 and 7 is actually the same number, but they're opposite of each other. When they're together, we call those mirror numbers, okay? So when you see a triple or false triple and you don't see like 222 or 777, sometimes they're broken up by their mirrors, therefore they're false triples. Well, in this example, 272 is a hot number to look for. Now, what are mirror numbers again? They're the same number, they're just opposite of each other. Make sure that you have your mirrors chart, okay, with you at all times, especially until you can get familiar with them. When we're saying mirror numbers, we're saying like the 0 could be a 5 or 5 could be a 0. A 1 could be a 6 or a 6 could be a 1. A 2 could be a 7, 7 could be a 2. 3 could be 8, 8 could be a 3. 4 could be a 9, and a 9 could be a 4, okay? So make sure you're paying attention. Now halfway down the rundown are mirrors as well. So you see how the 662 goes across? Its mirror 117 is there as well. Well, I want you to highlight your mirrored false trip. Notice it was 272 and then it became 727, okay? I want you guys to make sure you know that so when you see them that you can pay close attention to them. When I see false triples, a lot of times it's telling me that the numbers that are going across could be hot and could be coming out in the next few days, okay? It could mean that that 662 could be a repeat. It could be telling us that that 979 could be hot, the 286, 593, 800, 117, 424, 731, 048, or the 355. Quite a few numbers, right? I want you guys to make sure you're paying close attention to a couple of things here, all right? When you're looking to see what numbers could be hot and you're seeing false triples, make sure you're keeping a daily log of what's going on, okay? Especially when they hit, okay? Now, I want you to notice something. This whole list could be a hot list of numbers to play. That's a lot of numbers. I'm not suggesting that you do so, but I will tell you what did hit, and you probably already see it, and it came straight across the grid. 593 came February 18th evening. Yes, February 18th evening. Came straight across, okay? So I'm going to circle that. Literally. So when you see these triples and false triples, it could be telling you that hits are coming straight from here. Now, here's a thing that you need to pay attention to. And this is a couple of things. The thing is, pay attention to key digit numbers. Okay? To help us identify which numbers could have been the hottest, we're going to look at key digit numbers. And those key digit numbers could be the number 0 or its mirror 5, also 2 or its mirror 7, as you see here. Now they could be any type. They could be like 0055, 2277, or they could be mirrors. When you see them together, New York, pay attention. Notice how the 00, the 593 sits right on top of that key digit. Yes, this was your indicator right here. Okay, those zeros. So when you're looking at this and you're trying to figure out which numbers could be the hottest to play straight across, pay attention to your doubles or mirrors, especially if they're in the form of key digits. They could be mirrors, they could be doubles. The 00 is a key digit number. It just means, hey, when you see those numbers together, there's a particular pattern for that state. Every state is different. So 593 came, right on February 18th. Now here's the other kicker. I want to tell you about date some numbers to further drive in the point that 593 was hot. And it played on a particular day. Okay, so not only do I want to share with you what could be the hottest numbers to play, but also when to play them. So the next thing we have to learn about is a date sum number. A date sum number is when we add the month, which is February, plus the date, which is 18. When we add the month and the date together, we get the number 20. Now, the actual date sum number would be the number 0. Okay, 0 or its mirror 5. Okay, so notice not only was this a key digit, but the date sum number that this fell on was the key digit or the date sum number of 0. So there's several things going on here. When you use date sum numbers, I know people like to use them in single form and then try to put combinations together. I noticed for years, quite a few years, that sometimes the date sum numbers weren't there in a double or mirrored form, that they could possibly tell you when to play and where to play at on your rundown. And this is huge because a lot of people have problems trying to identify where the hottest numbers are on the grids. But when you have the triples that are slanted, that can help you understand that there could be a possibility that numbers not only go straight across, but there could be sitting on top of a date sum number or a special key digit number. A lot of people have missed stuff, and I'm pretty sure there's people when they go back in their rundown and they see this hit, they're going to be like, oh my goodness, it was sitting right in front of our faces. This is what I mean. So 593 hit February 18th, which happened to be a date sum of 0, and it sat right on top. Okay, so make sure you pay attention to that. There's more. I have another one. But before I do that, go ahead and hit that like. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the channel, okay? Let me go get that other example for you guys. All right. So here we have Pick 3, New York again. February 18th, evening, the hit fell 593, which we just worked on, right? Now, the first thing we got to do, if you notice, this is actually the same rundown. Remember, the hit was 662 previously, right? But when the 593 hit the way it did, the rundown repeated, okay? Literally the same. Let me highlight. So we have our 772 and our 272, okay? All right. Now, remember I told you previously that sometimes when triples come, it could be telling us that there could be a repeat number. Well, there was a repeat number. The 662 just played beforehand. Let's show you that again. Remember when it was like this? 662, 593. Remember that? You see how it's connected to this false triple? That was telling us that there was a possibility that that 662 could repeat. Not in the same pattern form, but it could repeat, and it did. 662, it hit straight across the rundown. Notice these hits are coming straight across. February 19th, okay? Now, something interesting about this. We talked about date sum numbers. Now we're going to talk about date numbers. Okay. When the 662 hit, we have these doubles sitting right here. They're split. Notice how February 19th, that 9 is called a date number or day number. Some people use it. But that hit, when it came, that 662, it fell right on the date sum number or the date number. So New York, this is how it works. Whenever you guys see triples or false triples and they're slanted, pay attention to date numbers that are coming up. Pay attention to date sum numbers that are coming up. This may tell you what numbers you want to play and when to play them. Now, I can't guarantee it will happen all the time, but I want you guys to practice on paper. Don't go to the store and just start spending money. Just pay attention to what's going on to your grids. All right? But literally, when you see these triples or false triples, start paying attention to how numbers are coming off of these grids. Okay? So literally, you had two hits because it was the same type of rundown. The numbers, the patterns always add back up. And they'll have cold spells, meaning, you won't see these every day. You have to pay attention to what's going on in your grids. But it was right there. And they came straight across. All right. So that was it. I hope that those two examples will help you guys really look at your games, really look and see what's going on with these grids. Triples and false triples when they're slanted could help give some really cool patterns. So that was it. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you on the next video.